I'm Alessandra Barrett, Senior Content Editor for JOC, and I'm at our 2019 TPM conference with Sanjay Tejwani, Senior Vice President and Global Head of LCL for DHL Global Forwarding. Great to see you again.
Thank you, Alessandra. I'm happy to be here.
How can we move away from price-based selling and more toward value-based selling in the ocean freight side of LCL?
This question needs to be put in the context of the customer segment. Typically, what we see in the small and medium-sized customer segment, ocean freight is bought and sold essentially on price. Once the price has been agreed, then many times we see discussion on service levels start. For example, customer-specific reporting, KPI measurements, specific cutoffs. All this is quite different compared to other industries where customers usually pay for the service levels they buy. In our industry has been commoditized to such a large extent that many of us seem to have lost sight of service levels. The carrier consolidation has also contributed to this challenge because service differentiators between various carriers has faded away in the last few years. We've got to realize that the lowest cost may not be the best cost at all times. Specifically talking about LCL, I think the discussion that customers need to have with their providers is how large is the LCL provider's in-house network? How many direct services do they have? What is the on-time performance from a CFS to CFS perspective? What is the no-damage ratio of the cargo being consolidated? These questions need to be asked along with the questions on price, and I think cargo owners would benefit from taking an approach that includes much more than price in their procurement decisions.
Of the many changes on the ocean side of our business, which ones do you look at as having the most impact on LCL?
The biggest change that is impacting the LCL business is the consolidation of the ocean carriers. With fewer ocean carriers, the industry is slowly moving towards becoming profitable, with rate levels moving towards healthier levels than seen in the past. The outlook for the FCL freight market is quite positive in the years ahead, and I do believe that the FCL freight rates will stabilize at much higher levels than seen in the past few years. This means that for customers, if they switch to the LCL mode of shipping where they can actually shift, will reduce their shipping costs. Obviously, this will increase the demand in the requirement for LCL services and increase the overall LCL market size. The forwarder segment itself is also very fragmented. As we move ahead, I do believe that scale will become increasingly important for ocean freight forwarders to be able to service customers at lower cost. This will drive out smaller players from the market who may not necessarily have the scale to achieve lower transactional cost and the money to invest into newer information systems. The barriers of entry to set up a global forwarding business will increase quite a bit. I think competence will be crucial, and only the fittest who continuously adapt will survive.
What are your thoughts on the current contracting process? What needs to change?
The contracting or negotiating process with every customer is quite unique. The one common element in all our discussions and negotiations with customers is, let's say, the terms and conditions document that the customers launch. And here I refer to large customers who run RFQs on a regular basis. Once the terms and conditions document is launched, which providers are expected to review, sign, to be able to participate in an RFQ and be considered for a potential award. Once the RFQ has been launched, the process can be quite different from customer to customer and can also be quite challenging in many cases. Some of the things that I do see can change and need improvement are, for example, volume data. Now, we've seen many RFQ templates, there's highly inaccurate volume data mentioned, specifically for LCL in terms of cubic meters. Now, volume is an extremely important pricing and negotiating lever. So getting this right in the RFQ templates is crucial. The other is about managing expectations on freight rates going forward. Mm-hmm. What we also see in many cases, customers expecting reductions on the previous year's costs year on year, when in a particular year, the freight market outlook for the upcoming year has moved upward quite significantly. And I think here the customers and the providers need to get into a discussion to manage the expectations of what is a fair price to agree for on the year ahead, and price based on a forward-looking market rather than related to the previous year's costs. The third thing I want to highlight is about the actual volume shipped versus the volumes awarded. Many cases we also see that the volumes that are actually shipped are much lower than the volumes that have been awarded. These create challenges in terms of capacity planning, budgeting, and resource planning on the part of the providers. And if I think we can, as an industry, come to terms and agree on what should be a reasonable ship-to-profile ratio, this will help. So these are some of the areas I think if we bring about some change, the process of contracting and negotiating will become much more satisfying to all parties.
It's always great speaking with you. Thanks for taking time to sit down with me today.
Thank you.
I've been speaking with Sanjay Tejwani, Senior Vice President and Global Head of LCL for DHL Global Forwarding.